I'm John Hendricks. It's Thursday, June 26th. Today, hard labor.
If you see something, say something. And if you're wrong, it's okay. But if you're right, you could save someone's life.
Why two people in Portage-la Prairie are charged with exploiting foreign workers. Also today, road rage.
They don't want to spend money on rural lives, and they don't want to actually listen to any rural voices.
Why people in Carbury want to put the brakes on a plan to revamp a dangerous intersection. Plus, cooling down.
So far, everything's holding fine.
More signs of improvement in the province's wildfire threat. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. Marilee Caruso is away today. RCMP say it's one of the most underreported crimes in Manitoba. Two hotel owners in Portage-la Prairie are facing labor trafficking charges after an RCMP investigation that began 5 months ago. A husband and wife are accused of forcing 4 immigrants from India to work long hours for very little pay. CTV's Taylor Brock joins us now. So Taylor, what led to these arrests?
Well, John, RCMP were called to a disturbance at a hotel in the RM of Portage-la Prairie back in February. During their investigation, they spoke to 2 women who complained about their working conditions. That's when the RCMP's human trafficking unit took over, and investigators found 2 more alleged victims. They were all from India, and police say they were forced to clean, do laundry, and other jobs at the hotel for well below minimum wage, and forced to work 15-hour days. The hotel owners are accused of withholding the victims' IDs and threatening them with deportation.
They all came to Canada in good faith, believing they were going to work legally and be protected. Instead, they were threatened and forced to work for very little pay.
That's Sergeant Kathy Farrell of the RCMP's new human trafficking unit. She says victims of labor trafficking are often intimidated by threats of deportation and don't come forward. She's stressing the importance of Manitobans who may suspect labor trafficking to report it.
It is one of the most underreported crimes that we have. If you see something, say something. And if you're wrong, it's okay. But if you're right, you could save someone's life.
The 4 victims were recruited to Manitoba through a Labor Market Impact Assessment Agreement, or LIMA. It's a document that employers need before hiring a foreign worker.
Taylor, this may be the first time that some people are hearing about labor trafficking. Why doesn't this issue have a higher profile?
Well, Sergeant Farrell says there's very little awareness about labor trafficking in Manitoba. That's why they are bringing attention to this case. They want employees to know their rights. It includes what employers should never do. They should never threaten you with violence, arrest, or deportation, or ask for your pay or a portion of your pay that was promised to you. Employers should never control who you speak with, and employers should not withhold your identification documents. RCMP add that employer-provided housing should be sanitary and secure.
Okay, thank you, Taylor. People in Carbury say they're disappointed and frustrated over plans to change an intersection where a bus crash killed 17 people 2 years ago. Now, the intersection is located just north of Carbury, where Highway 5 runs north and south and intersects with the Trans-Canada Highway.
They don't want to spend money on rural lives, and they don't want to actually listen to any rural voices.
The province has been looking at different options for the intersection, where a bus carrying seniors was hit by a semi-trailer in June of 2023 and burst into flames. Engineers hired by the province and transportation department officials presented the preferred plan at an open house in town. An R-cut would be constructed, which would not allow vehicles to cross the highway to make a left turn. Instead, they would have to turn right onto the highway and then use a U-turn lane. Department officials say this reduces T-bone collisions.
That makes the type of crash in the event that somebody makes a mistake much more survivable than at a traditional intersection.
However, residents say the R cut is confusing and could be hard to navigate for large trucks. They brought a petition with 2,100 signatures calling for an interchange. The province says an interchange was ruled out in part because it would cost $100 million, 5 times the price of the R cut. Police have found an inmate who escaped from Stony Mountain Institution earlier this week. Now, as we told you previously, staff at Stony Mountain realized Jason Van Wyck was missing on Monday morning, sparking a manhunt. The Winnipeg Police Service caught up with Van Wyck in the 400 block of Sherbrooke Avenue last night and arrested him. Correctional Services Canada says it investigates all instances where an inmate escapes and adjusts security measures as necessary. Manitoba and Saskatchewan were tied for the highest job vacancy rate in the country in April. Now that is according to the latest data from Statistics Canada, which put our province's job vacancy rate at 3.3%. Conversely, Manitoba also had one of the lowest unemployment to job vacancy ratios. There were 2 unemployed people for every available job that month. Well, more signs of improvement tonight in the province's wildfire threat. All provincial fire and travel bans will be coming to an end tomorrow morning. Now, there are 2 exceptions. You still can't travel in the backcountry of an active fire zone without a permit, and your local municipality may have its own fire or travel restrictions. There are currently 18 active wildfires, 6 that are considered out of control, but officials say the situation is more stable at the moment.
There's the odd area that's a bit of a concern around Lynn Lake in particular. The north end of the fire there has been fairly active, as well as the southwest corner of the community of Lynn Lake. We were a little concerned about a fire in that vicinity and activity there, but so far everything's holding fine.
There are still 13 states of local emergency, and 4 communities totaling 6,500 people are still evacuated. Well, if you get injured on a camping trip to the country, will there be an emergency room physician available to treat you? Doctors Manitoba is warning the answer may be no this summer. Doctors Manitoba says the vast majority of rural hospitals in our province won't have their ERs open 24/7 this summer. It says the ERs often experience changing hours of operation and even periodic closures. Now, after looking at schedules and speaking with doctors, the organization believes 24 ERs will be operating with reduced hours and/or periodic closures. Another 28 are expected to be fully closed this summer, and officials worry the system could experience even more demand than normal this year due to reduced travel to the United States.
In any emergency situation, whether you live down the road or across the street from an emergency room that you think is open, if it's truly an emergency, please call 911. The ambulance dispatch is always aware of the most updated closures, and so that's an important way that if you are having crushing chest pain, let the professionals come to you and help you there instead of trying to kind of play the guessing game yourself with your family.
Doctors Manitoba is suggesting people visit ruralcare.ca before you make your trip. The site has links to local ER schedules for each health region and guidance about what to do during a medical emergency. CTV weather specialist Colleen Brady joins us now for your first look at the Skywatch evening forecast. And Colleen, it's been a little warm the last couple of days, and of course we've got a big game coming up.
We sure do. 26 degrees, the hottest temperature of the day. Now we're heading into this evening. If you're heading out to the ball game, it will be a beautiful night. Temperatures throughout the game, John, will be in the low 20s. The sky will clear. The one fly in the ointment, though, could be the wind. You can see these winds coming out of the southeast. They could be a little gusty during the game, but otherwise it will be a great night. Further north, we do still have an air quality warning in effect issued by Environment and Climate Change Canada for the Lynn Lake region. I'll show you why that is still in effect tonight. Let's take a look right now, though, through the Bath Fitter Live Eye. Bath Fitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. In Winnipeg right now, 26 degrees, cloudy with a humid X. It feels like 28. Winds out of the southeast at 18 kilometers an hour. The pressure is dropping and the humidity is 43%. Out in traffic on this Thursday afternoon, a live look just west of Polo Park at East and Westbound northbound Portage Avenue. Traffic moving well there. One spot, not so much. North and southbound Plessy, north of Gunn. There's been a collision there, and at last word, there were emergency crews right on scene blocking that intersection. So do use some caution in that area.
I got to learn all about editing and lights and cameras.
How a Winnipeg film course is trying to get more young Black Manitobans interested in the filmmaking industry.
Get Winnipeg's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Wages outpaced inflation in April, moving up 4.4% year over year, while inflation rose by 1.7%. But some sectors did even better. Wages were up over 10% on average for those working in information and cultural industries. Those in real estate also had earnings grow close to 10%. Canadians with jobs in mining and oil and gas extraction saw wages go up about 5%, but they already make the most of any recorded sector. Here's how the trading day ended. The Canadian dollar is up, ending the day at 73.34. West Texas Intermediate is up to 65.24. Our fix on Western Canadian Select has it up as well to 53.24. And the TSX is up 185 points today to 26,751. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marella Fernandez.
You'll want to be extra careful when you park your vehicle this winter. A report heading to the Public Works Committee says the city will no longer be offering courtesy tows during residential parking bans. The Public Service says the number of calls for vehicles blocking snow clearing equipment has been steadily dropping, and there's no bylaw requiring courtesy tows anyway. Instead, it says it's going to be exploring more ways to keep people from parking on snow routes to begin with, such as thorough reminders in mailboxes or text messages. Learning about lights, camera, and action. Well, that is the goal of a master class in Winnipeg that's just wrapped up. It's run by the African Movie Festival in Manitoba. The idea is to encourage more young Black Manitobans to pursue jobs in the film industry. According to the festival's founder and president, many Black families don't consider filmmaking to be a viable career.
Which is not something most African parents also buy into, because of course if you're not a lawyer, doctor, engineer, then you're not doing something useful with your life. So art is something that we feel something important for young people to participate in.
The 8-hour course delves into the art of storyboarding, filming, and editing, and by the end of the class, students will have the skills and knowledge to produce a short film. Now, some of those films created will be showcased at the African Movie Festival in Manitoba this September. Students say the experience has them interested in pursuing a career in filmmaking.
I got to learn all about editing and lights and cameras and all that sound effect stuff that you can learn. And the masterclass has very interactive things, whereas we would all come out, like all 15 of us, and we would like go behind the camera and do some scenes with some lights. Yeah, and it was very interesting.
The AMMF Festival happens at the Winnipeg Art Gallery from September 15th through to the 21st.
Community Connection is brought to you by Mr. Reuter Plumbing. Born to be a hero, trained to be a plumber.
American Vogue's editor-in-chief for 4 decades. Why Anna Wintour is stepping down. Spotlight is next.
Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting Brett Kissel.
Colleen Brady has your spotlight today, and a big shakeup in the fashion world, Colleen.
Is it ever, John? American Vogue's publisher Condé Nast has confirmed that after nearly 40 years, the editor-in-chief of Vogue, Anna Wintour, is stepping down. Now, Wintour is not leaving altogether, just scaling back her duties. She will remain as Condé Nast's global chief content officer, as well as Vogue's global editorial director. Wintour is credited with turning Vogue into a fashion powerhouse that could set and destroy both trends and designers. Wintour became editor-in-chief of Vogue in 1988.
Inspiration for The Devil Wears Prada, I believe.
Yes.
Very
That's
good.
the rumor, yes.
That is the rumor. We've not confirmed.
Can neither confirm nor deny, but that is the rumor, John.
Exactly. Adam Sandler heading back on the road.
That's right. It's all for a North American comedy show tour this fall.
It's very discouraging for me. He said it earlier. And you're holding the baby.
The actor and comedian will be stopping by 30 cities for an arena tour. Most of them are in the U.S. So far, only one Canadian stop. That's in Toronto, October 12th. Sandler has dubbed this the You're My Best Friend tour, and it's his first since his sold-out tours back in 2022 and 2023.
Got some big news for Disney fans out there.
Now, if you love the latest live-action remake of a beloved animated film, you're going to love this one. The company confirmed today that a Lilo and Stitch 2 movie is now in development. Now, this comes as the live-action remake of the 2002 animated film surpasses $920 million U.S. at the global box office. Lilo and Stitch tells the story of an extraterrestrial who finds himself in Hawaii and the adventures and chaos that follow.
Have not seen it, although I have to say the trailer looked good.
It does look good, doesn't it? Yeah.
Well, we'll check it out later. Cinema fans are counting down to the Toronto International Film Festival.
And organizers, John, have announced several new world premieres that will take place at this year's event. They include Mile End Kicks from Canadian filmmaker Chandler Levac and titles from directors around the world, including Good News by South Korea's Sung Hyung-byung, as well as Spanish-Italian co-production The Captive by Alejandro Amenabar and Hedda by U.S. director Nia DaCosta. Director Steven Soderbergh will also have the world debut of his new comedy, The Christophers. TIFF's 50th anniversary edition starts September 4th.
All right, thanks, Colleen.
You're welcome. Kick off your primetime lineup at 7 with CMA Fest, catch a rerun of The Big Bang Theory after, and wind down with E-Talk at 10:30, all right here on CTV. A live look out onto the Provencher Bridge in the Esplanade Riel. Busy there, but moving well. Big day tomorrow. The pedestrian crossings at Portage and Main reopen. The city hosting opening ceremonies at 10:30 in the morning. I'll have your full forecast coming right up.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
Winnipeg police are asking for your help in their search for a suspect in a random attack at the Forks. Police have released this photo of the man they're looking for, 33-year-old Daniel Christopher Dumas. He's wanted for assaulting a 30-year-old man at the Forks on June 6th. He's also wanted in connection with an attack and robbery of a woman at a beer vendor on Sherbrooke Street on June 7th and an attempted break-in in River Heights. He's 5'8" and 150 pounds. Police say he should be considered armed and dangerous and not to approach him. Now, if you can help police find Daniel Christopher Dumas, call police or Crime Stoppers.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
CTV weather specialist Colleen Brady has your Skywatch evening forecast. And Colleen, very, very warm the last few days.
Yeah, we had a cool start to the week, but temperatures have rebounded to where they ought to be for this time of year, John, in the mid-20s across much of the south and even parts of the north as far as Churchill. I'll show you that in just a moment, but you can see right now on the radar, looks like a pretty nice start to the evening. Winds coming out of the southeast. So quick recap, if you're going to the Bomber game, there may be a few wind gusts coming out of the southeast, but otherwise it will be a beautiful night out there at Princess Auto Stadium. Quick look up north at the wildfire situation. We did have some rain come through the 10 to noon hours up in the north in the Flin Flon area this well, there was this morning, really, into early afternoon. Further north, Lynn Lake even got a touch of rain, not a lot, and it was in the 9 o'clock hour. Lynn Lake still under that air quality warning issued by Environment Canada. The reason being there's been a surface ridge of high pressure over the area, essentially sort of keeping that smoke put. But as that ridge starts to push off now, that will allow south winds to come in behind it, and that could drive smoke into the town of Lynn Lake. So that is a possibility there. So take a look at this. It's 25 right now in Churchill, folks. It's just as warm as it is in Brandon right now. Winnipeg is at 26, so warm right around the province. Why am I showing you this empty severe thunderstorm watch graphic, you ask? Well, because next door in we're in Manitoba, next door in Saskatchewan, there's plenty of activity there. Severe thunderstorms firing off there. You can see all these areas in red, but surrounded by all these areas in yellow. These are areas under a severe thunderstorm watch. Now, all this could be heading western Manitoba's way tonight. So there is the possibility we could get some severe weather happening here in a few hours' time. So keep that in mind if you are closer to the Saskatchewan border. And we've had that rain that's passed through parts of the north, sort of in scattered fashion, not leaving a lot behind over the course of the day, but that will continue into tonight. And the expectation is more scattered rain will come across northern Manitoba throughout the day tomorrow. And you can see maybe even through the south overnight into Saturday morning. We could get some pretty good soakings happening intermittently on Saturday night as that system crosses the south. 13 tonight for Winnipeg, mostly clear. Winds out of the south, 20 gusting to 40 at times. 26 is the high tomorrow, mix of sun and cloud. Winds picking up again out of the southeast. The UV index for Friday, very high. Quick look at your long-range forecast. 26 degrees Saturday, Sunday. Low chance of showers on Sunday. Ditto for Monday, a little warmer. Well, no, actually, really 26 degrees. Same thing. Canada Day, that's a little warmer. 27 in the sun, 28 on Wednesday, under a mix of sun and cloud, and some warm overnight lows there, too. Our first weather photo is courtesy of Gale, a beautiful sunset over the Winnipeg River there. Gorgeous shot, very nice. And so is this. Now, Sonia here in Winnipeg was out at Fort White Alive, and boy, is it beautiful out there too. Send us your pics to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
Thanks, Colleen. It's summer kickoff night tonight at Princess Auto Stadium as the Winnipeg Blue Bombers take on the Edmonton Elks. The Bombers are looking to improve to 3-0 on a short week after consecutive and convincing wins over the BC Lions. Now, Winnipeg defeated BC 27-14 last Saturday. Meanwhile, the Elks going for their first win after losses to the Lions and the Montreal Alouettes in back-to-back weeks. The kickoff time is tonight at 7:30. Now, even though the hockey season has just wrapped up, it's already time to start looking forward to the next one. The Jets are out with their preseason schedule, which kicks off September 21st at Canada Life Centre versus the Minnesota Wild. Now, 2 days later, they'll host the Oilers before their first road game, also against the Oilers on September 26th. They return home to face the Flames on September 27th before departing for games in Minnesota and Calgary. And I know we are all hoping they do very well next season.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll be back at 6. CTV National, Sandy Renato starts now.